Welcome to the Sky High Tour, everyone. My name's Michael. I'm going to be your tour guide today and for the next 3 days. Now, to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing, our essential destination throughout the tour is going to be Skye. So essentially what we're going to do today is we're going to head up the east side of Scotland. We'll stay at a town that sits on the banks of Loch Ness. We'll be staying at a hostel called Morag's Lodge. Tomorrow we'll head over to Skye. We'll spend the entire day on Skye doing lots of different things. Then we'll head down to Scotland back to Edinburgh on this Sunday.
So yeah, we've just stopped off at our first stop in Dunkeld, but the drive here was quite entertaining, to be honest. The tour guide's really good, and he was telling us about a lot of stories about Scotland that I never actually knew, such as I think he's from Edinburgh himself. His name's Michael, and he's a really good tour guide, so shout out to you, Michael. But he was telling us about why Edinburgh used to be called the Old Reek, which means old, like old and smelly, basically. And it was because back in the day Edinburgh used to have like a wall round it, and it was really compact in to prevent like invasions or whatever. And then because it was such a high population, I think it was like 50 or 60,000 people crammed into this tiny little space, they used to just chuck all their human waste out the window at 7 PM every night. And then because of that the whole city like stunk, because you just had like crap running down the streets. So it's quite entertaining and quite a good story, and there's a bunch of other stories that we also heard about it. But we're on our way to check out Dunkeld Cathedral now, because we never actually managed to stop off at it when we were doing the Heart 200, and it's apparently a really beautiful building, so I'm excited to go and see what that looks like.
So we've just come to visit Dunkeld Cathedral, which sits nicely on the River Tay. It's lovely to walk around here. The castle itself was built in the 1200s, and it's now partially a ruin, and it's still partially not a ruin. The choir still sing in the bit that's not a ruin, and the bit that is a ruin looks like it's got maintenance on it at the moment, so I don't know whether they're maybe rebuilding or I don't know, who knows. But the more important site that we are going to see in Dunkeld today is called the Eilean Bakery. Now apparently the owner of this bakery was on the Great British Bake Off, so we're expecting it to be pretty good, and for research purposes we are going to go and trial and test the cake. We'll let you know how it goes.
Is he? Oh my god. Oh, get up, Stevie.
Anything else for you? So sorry about that, we went from being freezing cold to a really toasty little cafe and the lens all fogged up, but we picked out the vegan chocolate brownie in there and it looks delicious. We also saw a really cute little cockapoo puppy, which was possibly maybe only 8 weeks old. So
if
cute,
that, yeah.
if that tiny little pup. But yeah, we're going to give this brownie a try. The taste test.
Get a good shot of that.
Look at that.
Is that good? Alright. Give us a wee bite of that. Let's get it.
That is amazing.
All of my teeth. We'll save the rest of that for the bus. Let's get it going. As we journeyed north, we were treated to the beautiful views of the highlands, as well as the ancient forest and magical wishing trees of the Hermitage, before we finally arrived at the Tomatin Distillery. Here we were given an in-depth tour of the distillery and the process that is behind the production of Scotch whisky, including of course a little taster of the finished product at the end.
So we arrived at Morag's Lodge, which is in Fort Augustus, which is just near Loch Ness, and yeah, we're staying in a hostel dorm for the first time in quite a long time.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've got bunk beds here, and we've got our own little ensuite bathroom, so it's actually a really comfortable hostel. There's not that many rooms. Well, I think that is quite a lot of rooms.
Probably about 20 or 30.
Yeah, but they're not big rooms. There's like 4 people to a room, so it's quite nice.
Yeah, as Gemma says, in terms of actual hostel rooms, I think this is one of the nicest hostels we've actually probably been to recently, especially coming from like kind of Indonesia, Southeast Asia, even Australia. To be honest, the hostels in Australia weren't the nicest either, but you pay quite a bit of money for staying in places like this, especially in Scotland. Hostels can be expensive, but you do actually get your value for money because it's a nice place to be. It's quite quiet, there's lights everywhere, there's plugs, comfortable beds, good pillows, and an ensuite bathroom, so we'll give you a little tour. That was lovely, lovely singing. Right, so this is us here. We've already made a mess of it, we just arrived. How do we do that?
I have no idea.
And this is we're sharing the room with a lovely couple that are also on a tour with us. And this is our bathroom in here. So it's basic, shower looks good, nice and clean. And there's a toilet. Fantastic. Now our plan is we're going to be chilling out here tonight. Apparently there's some pub games and that going on. So we're going to go and check them out, have some fun tonight. And then tomorrow we're heading off to the Isle of Skye, and yeah, last time we went there it was a bit cloudy. It wasn't that good a view, so hopefully this time the weather's a bit better and we can actually see the tops of the old Man of Storr. That would be good. So Gemma was also just pointing out that they have lots of stuff talking about how to be environmentally friendly here at this lodge, which is really good. We like to stay at places really that are eco-conscious. Yep, definitely. We've even got a section here on this board, Environment and Sustainability. They tell you how they're recycling all their food, all their glass, plastics, paper, cardboard cans, and they also have a composting bin for their food, and they grow their own herbs. Oh, that's good. Use fair trade, work with local suppliers and businesses, don't replace your tools unless you request it, and so on. There's a lot of like environment and sustainability thought around this lodge, so that's really good. So good morning guys, I had quite a good sleep last night. We ended up doing a pub quiz for about a couple of hours. We won a hat, which I'll be wearing today, so proudly supporting Morag's Lodge. But it was a comfortable room. A couple of whiskey jams I think got to me a bit too much, so I didn't sleep the best I've ever had, but in terms of hostels, it was very, very comfortable. So I highly recommend Morag's Hostel Lodge if you are coming to this area. It's really good. That's really helpful. We've got plugs on the bus. Bonus. What you got charging? I've got my phone on the go and camera batteries. Couldn't be without these on the bus. So we've just jumped in at the Eilean Donan stop-off point. It's just actually, Eilean Donan Castle is just behind me here. It apparently is a really fascinating castle. It used to be used, not that original one, but apparently back 1,000 years ago there used to be a castle there that was so heavily fortified because it was used to repel Viking invasions. Because we've got 3 lochs that meet here, and I'm pretty sure some of them are sea lochs, so you've got the Vikings used to come up these lochs and basically rape and pillage their way along the coastline. So they built this castle, the Eilean Donan Castle, to try and repel those invasions. Another part of its history was during the Jacobite uprisings. Basically once that kind of finished off and the soldiers were finished with it, they decided to blow up that castle because their idea was like, if we can't have it then no one can have it. So they blew that up, and then in the mid 20th century they started to rebuild it, and you can now visit it and rent it out as a wedding venue or whatever else on your trip through Scotland. It's a beautiful spot. If the castle itself is open when you visit, make sure you don't park at that. If you keep driving past it, across another bridge, this bridge just behind me, and then park in at the Dorney Hall parking lot. You can go in there, there's a wee cafe up the road you can get some food at if you want, but it's free parking here. Whereas over beside the castle, you need to pay £20 to park there. If you're a bus, it's probably a little less if you're in a car, but it's not worth it. Off in Portree. I feel like the places that we're going to we just can't get away from. We were in Portree and Skye just 2 weeks ago. Not complaining. Yeah, I'm not complaining, it's a beautiful part of the world. But our plan is we're going to go and stock up some food for dinner tonight, because we don't want to have to spend money on dinner again as a kitchen. So we're going to go and get some food, thinking some spaghetti or pasta or rice or a curry maybe. We'll go and see what there is. Spaghetti's a really random choice. I know, I saw them. They were having spaghetti last night and I kind of fancied it. It's a corn spaghetti. But anyway, we'll go and see what there is. But they're talking about the weather. It's still drizzling. I don't know if you can see, but it's not the nicest weather, so we're going to need to see how it is, whether we go up the store or not. Maybe we'll go up to the lower platform again. But yeah, hopefully it clears up in the afternoon. But let's go to the shops and get that out of the way. Alright, noodles. Right, you've got discount noodles. Right there, grab them. Okay. Discount veg. No, there's veg down there that's cheaper. Stir fry veg. Just do that. What's the tatty bogle?
I don't actually know, to be honest. I just know it's something my dad used to always say to me. But it's like something like goodbye, like tatty bogles.
Alright.
It's like goodbye. I don't know, I'm gonna have to Google that now.
You need to check out with your dad.
I know.
Maybe it's something from his childhood.
Maybe.
I think we're going to head up to the first platform because it's very, very windy. I don't even know if you can hear any of this. But the path leading up to the stores, we said in the last video, is really, really good. They're just extending the car park out as well, just to make room for the number of people that come here during the summer. So it's quite accessible, and there's even a trail leading all the way up the mountain. So we're where we were 2 weeks ago, and there just really isn't any view at all, is there?
Can't even see the storm.
That's our view.
Yeah.
The old man should be around here. Oh well, low cloud. C'est la vie, Scotland.
Oh well.
The joys.
Yeah.
That's why they call it the Misty Isle, I guess, because it's misty.
That's a dog.
Oh, that's what we came to see instead. Then there's a wee doggy coming down, so that'll make up for it. So yeah, we got up to the first viewpoint and the view wasn't good at all. That was it. Like, it was even worse than the last time we went up. We've been up 3 times now, and it's only been nice once. So I would say you want to try and nail it in like springtime.
Where that was the only time we came in summer.
Yeah, I think you want to nail it in the spring before it gets busy and after the worst of the weather's over. Yeah, we decided to turn around. We head back to the bus now. I think we've got some other sites that we're going to go and see. But I think it's going to be a day of jumping in and out of the bus because it's just not, the weather's not on our side, unfortunately. Hats are like really nice.
I know, like so warm.
How much is it for a hat?
$15.99.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. It tastes like some kind of food.
Fish. Smoked fish.
No,
I usually pick.
I was actually more thinking smoked cheese.
Smoked cheese, yeah. Anything smoked. I mean,
Yeah.
basically it's just a smoked.
I really
smoked
like
beer.
that.
First time I've ever tried a smoked beer.
Really, really good. Yeah, past the doors of half like this one.
No, it's not doing it.
Oh, and there's the wind. So last stop of the day, we've come back down to Slagacan Bridge. We were at here last time, and the views are not nearly as good as they were last time, but we're going to check out anyway. I was really interested in coming back and seeing this for myself because I read after our last visit that there's a certain mythology about the Slagacan Bridge that stems from basically the tale of an old warrior princess that used to live on Skye. If you come down here a little bit more, it's less windy.
Oh, look at that.
There's a warrior princess apparently used to live on Skye, and she was the greatest warrior in all of Scotland. And there was a warrior who came from elsewhere in the world, and he wanted to prove himself as the best warrior, so he challenged the warrior princess to a fight. And now they fought up in the hills, up here, up in the Cullens, and they fought so hard that it created bigger mountains and deeper valleys, and the whole Skye shook. And now when they were fighting, apparently the princess's daughter was terrified, so she ran down to this part of Skye and cried so fiercely that it opened up a portal between the fairies world and the human world. And it's a well-known fact that, you know, the fairies can travel between these two dimensions by water, so that's how they got to here. They heard her crying, and they came and granted and said to her, you know, why are you crying, how can we help you? So she explained to them she wished that she had enough knowledge that she could figure out how to stop the two warriors from fighting each other, and they said, dip your face in this river and you'll be granted with the knowledge that you need in order to stop the fighting. So she dipped her face, and then apparently after that she got this idea, and on her way back up into the hills she collected berries and nuts and seeds and burnt them, and then the smoke from these seeds then created a smoke that wafted out to where the warriors were fighting, and they smelt the smoke and they felt hungry all of a sudden, so they laid down their weapons and they came back down and feasted together. And that's the story about how you dip your face in the water here, you're granted, apparently it's eternal beauty, but I guess that's just down to what you think is beautiful. Maybe you think knowledge is beautiful. But after last night, I didn't get my beauty sleep because I was up partying till late, so I'm going to try and get my top up on eternal beauty instead. So here goes, I'm going to dip my face in the river. Woo!
How is that?
Ah, that was refreshing. I look beautiful.
Always.
A bonny wee Scottish flower. Alright, good morning guys. It's our last morning in Morag's Lodge. We're just about to head off. We're getting packed up. As you can tell, we're always last minute packing and the room's a mess. But I'm very excited for today because it's, as I said, it's the last day. We're heading back to Edinburgh, but it's still a full day of activities. We don't get back into Edinburgh until about 5 PM tonight. And I'm not entirely sure where exactly we're going. One of the good things about the Haggis Adventures Tours is that the itinerary shifts and changes depending on the weather, the season, what your tour guide kind of thinks that you personally will want to see the most. So you can't predict where exactly you're going, which is really exciting. But I do know that we're going to be heading down south through Rannoch Moor, which is one of Europe's last remaining wildernesses, and it's also my favourite place in the world because the view is absolutely stunning. So I'm very excited to be driving through there. I can sit and look out the window, and I don't need to worry about Gemma punching me because I should be keeping my eyes on the road for once. So that's really exciting. I think from Rannoch Moor we're going to be heading through Stirling, and then south down to Edinburgh. We'll be finishing off in the day. But for now we're going to get on the road. I'm going to go and get down and get some coffee, and if there's one thing that's better than coffee, it's free coffee. So I'm very excited to go and get some of that.
So we've stopped off at the Nevis Distillery, which is just outside of Fort William, and we're off on the hunt for the hairy coos. We've not seen one in quite a while, so
it's been ages, to be fair. It's been like, I've not seen one in about a decade.
Oh wow! I was dying to see a cow like this.
Proper up close. That is so cute. I know.
Yeah, by body mass, yeah,
The stag's bigger.
yeah, by
Wow.
body mass.
Hello.
I think that's like, they're coming like 5
Size of that eyeball.
like that.
Oh.
Yes,
Yum yum yum. There you go. There you go, buddy.
next stopped off at Doune Castle, which is just beside the little small town of Callander and also near Dunblane. We did stop off here before on our Heart 200 road trip, however we didn't really have time to sort of spend a lot of time here, but we stopped off here today and just look at it. You might recognise it from maybe the Monty Python, Outlander. It's also in the opening of Game of Thrones. So it's quite a famous castle and you might have come across it before. It's £15 if you want to get in and have a visit and have a look around the inside. But we're not going to do that today. We've got somewhere else that we're stopping after. But it's nice to just come and have a look at.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're at our last stop of the trip, unfortunately. We've just come to the Wallace Monument, which is just outside of Stirling. And this is a really fascinating monument in terms of Scottish history, and it's somewhere that if you're interested in like early 13th century Scottish history, it's definitely a place you want to come check out. We're currently hiding behind the building because although there's a gap, as you can see, it's not raining anymore. It stopped raining for like 5 minutes, but the wind is bitter cold and I don't even think you'd be able to hear me because it's so windy. But a little bit about the monument itself. It was built in the 19th century, I believe, in the 1800s, as a monument to my man William Wallace, who was one of the key characters in the wars of Scottish independence that happened in the 13th century. It's a really beautiful view. If you do want to come up here, even you can get up to the top of the hill for free, but in order to get into the monument itself you need to pay £10 for an adult, which we're not going to be doing today because we're only here for about half an hour. But if you're wanting to get a cracking view over this part of Stirling and that, I highly recommend you head up to the top and yeah, see as much of it as you can. On a clear day you can see right the way up to the north of Scotland. It's fantastic. Even down the bottom though, for free, you can see over Stirling, and it's such a beautiful little town, so it's really good to come check out. So as I said, this is our last stop. We're now heading back to Edinburgh, unfortunately. It's the end of our weekend trip. What a weekend it's been. I've learned actually so much about Scotland that I did not know before. So if you're really interested in not only seeing these sites but actually getting a good insight from a local, highly recommend you check out Haggis Adventures Tours as your tour guide, and book yourself your own little Scottish adventure. Would once again just like to say thanks to Haggis Adventure for making this trip possible, and if you've got any other recommendations, guys, about places we need to visit in Scotland, let us know in the comment section down below. We'd love to hear about your recommendations. If you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. It really helps to spread the video around and show other people how beautiful Scotland is. And of course guys, we will see you again in the next one.